VR now allows you to sell your experiences to others. Which memories would you put up for sale? Swimming with seals was exactly as cool as you would imagine it to be. Bro, ask Bin Laden. Being around seals isn't fun. They dumptish. My dad telling me how proud of me he is. Edit. I want you all to know I may not be your father, but I can be your daddy. And I want you to know how proud I'm of all of you. This is something lots of people need to experience but never will. The hug I got from Mr. Rogers. Edit. Wow, thanks for the gold. I'm glad you all found this as special as I did. As a bonus, here's some proof. That would get you millions. You misspelled billions. I got a hole-in-one while golfing. It was awesome. I would definitely sell that. Did you look around for 10 minutes trying to find the ball? I've gotten several holes in one. I even had to the same game once. But I only mini golf, so it's not the same. Congrats on your big golf accomplishment. I'd share the best concert I ever played with my old band. It was a super fun night, and we got really good reception. We were never even moderately big, but that was the biggest we felt. I'm not one to live in the past, but man, I crave that feeling every now and then. I feel this wholeheartedly. My band played so many local shows at VFWs and dive bars where nobody gave a shit about what was going on, or stayed outside smoking until their friends' bands came on. It was awful. But those few shows where we played decent venues with good crowds and got amazing reactions, I'd pay good money to have that feeling again. I think there'd be a real market for sporting victories. The rush of winning a big race/game in the midst of the total agony of giving every last ounce of effort is a unique euphoria. I think people would pay handsomely to experience that. I met this girl once as youth camp counselors one summer. I asked her out after the first week was over. We went out a few times. Then we took a picnic up a nearby canyon and just kind of lazed about on a big old blanket from my parents' house. I decided it was time for a DTR to find the relationship. I asked her, hey, so I'm in, like, total likeage with you here. How are you feeling? I'm in total likeage with you, too. She became my girlfriend. I would share that moment when she said she liked me back using the same awkward, dorky language I used. Then we just laid on the blanket, held hands, and stared at the clouds together for about an hour. Pure bliss. We've now been married for 11 years and have 4 amazing kids together and are currently building our dream house. Can I VR into your whole life, please? I sat next to Quentin Tarantino in a theater at one of the first screenings of the Edgar Wright movie The World's End, and for the subsequent Q&A with Wright, Peg and Frost. He was very animatedly laughing and loving it the entire time. As a movie talk, that was a pretty once-in-a-lifetime experience. That's awesome. Where was the theater located? The Cinerama Dome in Hollywood. I believe it's featured in his latest movie. Tarantino loves the Cinerama Dome. That's the theater he was having a stroke about on Stern over Disney pushing Star Wars over his movie there. Snorkeling in Enorma Bay in Hawaii. Initially, my wife and I went with the intent of staying an hour or two, having a picnic, while we dried off, then hiking up Diamond Head. I felt like a kid again looking at all the pretty fish. My wife got out first, and I just did not want to stop. We decided to come back again on one of our last days and spend all day there. Damn, that was a good day. I'd buy that. The day we went they closed the beach due to all the jellyfish breeding. Sad face. Dying and coming back to life after 4 minutes of being clinically deceased. Truly an experience. Can we get a free trial version? No problem, but you only get 50% of the experience. That is literally all I want from it, please and thank you. Having a snowball fight at the North Pole while standing next to nuclear submarine. Attending a cookout atop of the same submarine while traversing the Panama Canal. Scuba diving in Guam. Snow skiing Black Diamonds in Jackson Hole. Navy will buy the first 2 for advertising. The third one was likely because of the Navy too. The time I went to a paranormal circus. It was fantastic. A red and black tent popped up in the mall parking lot overnight and advertised a weekend-long paranormal circus. I couldn't find anyone to go with me, so I went by myself. It was so much fun. They had zombie nurses running the snack stand, light up creepy masks and costumes for sale. Everyone was dressed like dark steampunk. When they opened the gates, to get into the main tent we had to go through an area with open cages, to signify the monsters had been let out or something. I got directed to my seat by a lady, and as I walked down the corridor to the main tent, a man with underbite fangs and a jungle cannibal style costume started chasing after me with a chainsaw. Haha. Hey, that's one way to get people in. When I got there I had semi-front row seating. Not right at the stage, but the row behind those, right on the walkway near the action, and face to face with the performers. Chainsaw Dude apparently liked me because he jumped on the seat next to mine and yelled out the show was starting. There were nicely dressed vampires handing out light up cups full of slushes and bags of cotton candy. Ick now, the good stuff. Then a hooded dude with a demon's voice came on stage and announced that if anyone there was scared of the dark to leave then and there. Well, with that the show began, and a tiny clown in blood stained clothes came on the stage. The rest of the show was amazing. Scares, stunts, girls in spiked boxes escaping, people in boxes being set on fire, creepy mimes, people being volunteered to perform questionable acts. At one point one guy was doing flips on this huge spinning rod in the air and almost fell twice. I'll admit, I screamed. 11/10ths would go back again, but it was a one-time random thing in our small town. Not as wild as some of the others, but I'd sell the memory of a summer I had when I was 16. My parents were away, and I had the apartment to myself for an entire summer. There were 2 huge groups of friends I hung out with, among whom were a few real solid buddies that I'd known my whole life and a few others less permanent, but very cool and funny individuals. My best friend and I dated a pair of best friends, and while I liked my girl enough I wasn't head over heels, and so had fun without any of the ensuing drama, she felt more or less the same way. The weekends were basically 48 hours of non-stop partying and hanging out. Feels like I saw the sun rise every day. Not a ducking care in the world. I think about it a lot now, decades later. I've got a great family and a good job, but man do I miss that freedom. All the times I banked 10/10ths super hot chicks. People will quickly ask for a refund when they get just a black screen. Mine would just show Ops Mom. Mine would just show my mom. Sweet Home Alabama. I'm a dentist. I think everyone should have the experience of taking out someone else's tooth when they are totally and completely numb. The patient is numb or you're numb. It's most fun if everybody is. I would sell a typical day of me walking through my city. It would allow people to see what life is like from the perspective of a dwarf. You'd get to see how it feels when everyone and everything towers over you, and experience how inaccessible so many places are. And of course, how much unwanted attention you get from strangers. The photographs taken of you. The pointing, staring and comments. Maybe schools could use it to help kids empathize with people who are different. Likewise, from the perspective of a wheelchair, Lyme disease and babesiosis put me in one for a long time. I'm super outgoing and it amazed me how ignored I suddenly became. Serving staff at restaurants, etc., wouldn't make eye contact or always speak to me directly. You better believe that I go out of my way to do so with others in that position now. My first DMT trip and I would buy it from myself so I could remember it better. I'm surprised more of these answers aren't drug experiences. This scenario is a great workaround for a lot of issues surrounding drugs. Drugs aren't legal, just by the experience. Can't find drugs / don't know people, just by the experience. Wanna try meth, but don't want to get addicted and ruin your body, just by the experience. Already doing drugs, but your tolerance is too high, just by the experience. Yeah, but a big part of drugs is the feelings in your body. Just looking at the effects through a headset wouldn't do them justice. This is the hardest thing to describe about psychedelics. Yeah, the walls melt and the trees glow, but what's happening in your head is so much weirder. How the hell am I going to adequately describe the feeling of genuine interest in the few droplets of water on the inside of a toilet bowl? It felt like I had stared at it for hours, when in truth it had been less than a minute. The video game career experience. All the marketing material for this experience would make it sound fun. Talking about how you can live your dream job through VR, creating awesome games for people all around the world. You start playing the experience. For the first few hours it's bliss and everything seems great. Then after the first few hours something seems off. Your bosses are mentally abusive, work conditions decline, your estimates are cut in half and deadlines are impossible to hit, your community bashes you, sends you death threats, and flames you for decisions that were made above your head in which you have zero input.